Hi, I am Jenna.
And I am Rochelle.
And we were both raised in fundamentalist groups and are here to share our religious deconstruction with you.
This is a content warning. This episode contains topics of sexual abuse. Some listeners may find that disturbing.
If this is triggering to you, feel free to skip this episode.
Welcome back, guys.
Hello.
Yeah, we've not been as consistent as we would like to be, so it's been a couple weeks, but we're back.
Yay. They probably know no difference.
No.
We were so behind in episodes anyways.
But let's just tell on ourselves. It's been a few weeks. We haven't been in, but
it's also been the holidays.
Yeah.
So I feel like we get a little bit of a pass.
Yeah, hopefully you guys had a great holiday season.
Yeah. Well, is there anything we need to catch up on this first?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay. So today's topic is, I think is going to be interesting, especially because I'm not an expert on it. I'm going to first and foremost say that. But you have not even heard of it.
No, I haven't. Today. I haven't done any research on it because I wanted this to be like my first.
Your first time with me. I love this. Okay, so we're going to talk about the bite model, which I know it gets, so how I brought it up to you was like, I know when I first started deconstructing, I did turn to YouTube and a lot of like, because I wanted to hear people's personal experiences and stories and stuff. So everybody would refer to this, the bite model, like everybody was supposed to know what it is. And I would just be like, I have no idea what the bite model is. So I had looked it up, so I do know kind of what it is, but I'm curious for us to go through and compare it to like our own personal experiences and like what we think, if we think that the churches that we were a part of essentially qualify under this.
Okay.
So the backstory is, for those of you that do not know, the bite model was created by Stephen. I hope I'm saying his name right. I don't know. It's Hassan, I think. And it's the bite model of authoritarian control. So this doesn't just apply to like churches or cults and things. This is like any sort of like form of control or high control like group or person, to my understanding. We're going to deep dive into this right now. But it's essentially kind of become a litmus test to say, like, is the group that I'm a part of, whether it be religious or not, is it a cult or is it unhealthy? Is it controlling? So, so I think we could just like dive into it, or do you want background on who he is?
No, I don't really care.
You don't care? Okay. If anybody does care, though, just so you know, the key is he's a doctor or a PhD. Let me rephrase that. Like, some people think doctor of medicine. He is a PhD, and he's basically really quickly become essentially, I say quickly, he's become an expert in the field. But he was also a part of a cult himself.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the details on it, but I've heard like clips of him speaking about it. And it was like so much so a cult, like he essentially was like kidnapped out of it. Like, it was
wow.
Like apparently a really big thing. And so he talked about being like, he had to go through like deprogramming and stuff because he was so combative towards it and stuff. So yeah, it was apparently a whole thing. I've just heard clips. And then we can maybe link out to some things about that. But essentially the bite is B-I-T-E, not B-Y-T, you get it. So it's B-I-T-E, and it stands for behavior, information, thought, and emotional. So those are the 4 types of control that a group like this would use. So this is they have kind of almost like examples, I guess, in each one of those categories. So I think we just like jump in and look at this.
Yeah, let's see.
So behavioral control. Yeah, right there. Scroll with the blue part. Perfect. That's the one I'm looking at right now.
Okay.
So behavioral control, I guess we can read a few of these and see if any of them apply. So regulate an individual's physical reality.
Yeah.
I don't even, maybe we're gonna need like definitions for some of this. I'm like, regulate an individual's physical reality.
Is that like controlling like where they go?
Dictate, okay, let's read number 2. Dictate where, how, and with whom the member lives and associates or isolates. So that sounds like controlling who you're with.
Yes.
So Do you think that would apply?
I think it would apply
I do
to
too.
like the Pentecostal church, because they're really big on like being with like-minded
Yes.
people and not being unequally yoked. You know,
Yes.
so I can see that for sure.
I would agree. And I know when they say isolate, like for an example, like I was not allowed to go to public school for exactly that reason. I didn't want to be, exposed to all these worldly ideas. So it's isolating from a group. So I would say yes. When, how, and with whom the member has sex.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
big time.
Yes. Control types of clothing and hairstyles.
Yeah.
Yes. Pentecostal is skirts, correct?
Yes. They don't wear pants.
Is there like any reasoning behind that?
It's just modesty. Yeah, it's
modest.
just modest. Yeah.
So how is pants immodest?
Because it's showing like curvature, but then they wear skirts that are like 6 sizes too tight, and, so it's like,
Is Pentecostal also like the length restriction?
yeah, like
Where
so nowadays, honestly, like they're way more lenient with it. When I was younger, I remember like seeing people get like reprimanded in church for like their skirt being too short or like something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
So like really to the knee is where they want it, but now they don't really care these days as far as like the length. But if I came into the church with like pants on, that would definitely be a heavy topic of conversation.
Even now?
Even now, yeah.
I totally hate
To which
have
I
worn
do,
pants every
but
time
I just
into your
I
church.
have too. Like if I have to go pick up my kid or something from
Yeah.
my parents, like I'll just walk into my pants. I don't care
Yeah.
at this point in my life. But
Now I'm like sitting here like self-conscious of like, they talk about me. I had pants on every time I went to that church. I am like I don't even own a skirt. Like
no, I don't think
I
for
don't
like
wear
visitors,
skirts.
they don't really like
I don't really
care,
care.
but just like people who they feel should quote know better.
Immodest. I got yelled at for wearing flip-flops. It
Yeah.
was disrespectful.
Disrespectful, yeah.
How does
I
my
remember
how
my
did my
parents would say
feet
something
offending
like
you? Like maybe they just had foot fetishes.
That shouldn't be for free.
Maybe, yeah. Exactly. Okay, control. We just decided one. Regulate diet, food, drink, hunger, and or fasting.
Yeah, definitely believe in lots of fasting. You know what? I didn't
Definitely.
realize that fasting wasn't just like a biblical term
Right.
until like I was an
Intermittent fasting and
adult.
stuff.
Yeah.
Same. I didn't know. I thought it was a religious term as
Yeah, I
well.
thought it was just a religious term.
Yeah, until you like start hearing about like, oh, intermittent fasting and
Yeah.
things. And I'm like, are they praying or
Literally.
I
No,
didn't
seriously.
know,
I thought
I
the
know.
same thing. Yeah.
I'm like, are they praying the fat away? Like
I'm
it
like,
was
oh no, it's a whole different.
No, exactly. I know.
It's
What's
crazy.
the longest? What were you told about fasting? Like, was it only food?
No. So it would be like from food or from something that you really, really love.
Mm-hmm.
Like your phone during like maybe like a certain hour, like a TV show or like the TV in general or something like that.
Yeah, I was told the same. What's the longest you ever did a no food fast?
Oh gosh. Maybe like I honestly don't know. Maybe like a couple of days.
Yeah. Did you ever have to do those
Maybe.
walk-ins?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, those
I
were like
remember
3
those.
days.
Yeah.
3 days of no food, locked
And
in.
it was just like, you know what? Now that I think about that, like I have always had maybe not the most healthiest relationship with food,
Mm-hmm.
but I was just thinking back to like when I was younger, I went on a diet.
Mm-hmm.
And someone from the church encouraged me to use this like diet plan that they found.
As a fast.
And it was like, no, it was like a diet plan that like, but it had like Bible scripture behind why you should be dieting, like to help you while you're on a diet.
Oh
It
god.
was like a Bible study tied to it, like about a diet plan
Oh
to
my
help you.
gosh.
And I'm like, that is damaging. But yeah, crazy.
Oh, yeah, no. Manipulation and deprivation of sleep. Do you feel that?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so as a regular practice, because I know this definitely probably applies more to like an everyday practice, which I know you and I were talking about the vow. One of the things was like they highly encouraged them to sleep like 3-4 hours a night max, and the rest of the time they were supposed to be doing all this stuff, and that's sleep deprivation. But I really do feel like sleep deprivation is used in summer camps.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and not just, especially the extremely religious ones,
Mhm.
because there are some Christian summer camps that I would say they're just like I'd be comfortable sending my kid to now, even though I'm not religious. I'm like, they're fine. They're like a normal summer camp. Yeah, they're just gonna have like morning devotions or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know, did you ever, I guess I don't want to say the name of the actual camp. Did you go to that one pastor that we had when we were younger? No, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
Whose TikToks?
Yeah.
Did you ever go to her summer camp?
No.
Okay. That is so the reason I think sleep deprivation here is because that is the only times that I would say I had like essentially like what I would probably call now like hallucinations.
What?
But we would be there until like 1, 2 in the morning when we were up at 6 or 7 in the morning, and they are purposefully keeping us in these quote worship services. Who's keeping children? I was probably 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, who's keeping children up that late you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but that's the only time I think I would have said like I physically saw stuff manifest, I guess is what I would have called it then. But now looking back, I'm like, I think we literally hallucinating from lack of sleep and
That's crazy.
emotional manipulation.
That's scary.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I don't think as a regular practice, but I think they do it and sometimes. Because think about like 24-hour worship services and stuff that they have. It's purposely
That's true.
keeping you up all night, and these people are so emotional, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let's see. Financial exploitation, manipulation, or dependence.
Yes.
Check.
Seriously.
I think we've talked about that enough. Let's see. Restrict leisure, entertainment, and vacation time.
Yeah.
How do you think that they restrict that?
So, because like the Pentecostal church, it's a sin to go to the movies or to go to a football game.
Wait, shut up. What?
Yeah, girl.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, start this all over.
Yeah. So anything.
I'm learning something
really,
new.
really anything like worldly, as they call it, like really like going to the movies, probably even going out to dinner. But I know specifically going to the movies, like my grandparents, they don't go to the movies at all because it's technically a sin.
But why?
Because you don't want to go anywhere that could put you in a position that could cause you to sin. So if you're putting
How
yourself,
is the movies gonna make you sin?
because you're out around a bunch of other like sinners and other
Oh my
people.
God.
I'm
So
serious.
it's literally avoiding just people.
Yeah,
How did
and-
they excuse like going to the grocery store then?
I don't know. Of course, they just like these are rules that they've made up. Like
Right.
even my dad, like to this day, will say that like he was a really really good like basketball player in the town that like we grew up in, small town, and he'll say like
huge, that makes
his.
sense.
So that he'll say like his dad never went to any of his games or anything.
But they let him play.
But they let him play because he wasn't like in the church at the time. But yeah,
Wow.
they never went to any of his games. He was in the paper, like everything, and they never
Wait.
saw him play.
How traumatizing.
Yeah.
Is your dad okay?
You could probably use a hug.
Oh my God. That's awful. That makes me so sad.
So check.
Dang. Okay. Major time spent with group indoctrination and rituals and or self-indoctrination, including the internet.
I don't know about the internet, but definitely major time spent with the group. Because we, like our church gets
Yeah.
together all the time
Yeah.
for just like whatever program each church is having every
Yeah.
week.
I remember the first major religious fight that me and my husband had was over me being required to go to like the Valentine's dinner, and he was like had like planned something for Valentine's, and then I was told like it's not an option, like you have to be here, like you're on stage, which means that you have to be present at all of these activities. And he was pissed. He was so pissed. It was our first Valentine's married, and he wanted to do this whole thing, and it turned into this huge meltdown, like on like both of our sides, like
Yeah.
because he's super upset that like I like am saying like we have to go. Anyways, but yeah, I know that was like a big one because we had to be there for the group indoctrination. I'm just kidding.
I didn't try to miss it.
I know. I'm like, now I feel like shit. I'm like, looking back, if hypothetically, like when I look back at some of the things, like in the arguments we had, because he definitely was like over it way before I was. And I'm like, if hypothetically you would have come to me being like, my husband's this and my husband, he's saying I have to do this and I have to be like, bitch, leave. Like,
Literally.
I would have literally been like, get out,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I literally, if my husband was my friend at the time that I was in this, I would have been like, bitch, go, leave. Like, yeah.
Second that.
I feel so bad. Like, I'm like, I literally thought I was doing like good things at the time.
Yeah. Cult member.
I know. I'm like, God. Okay. Number 10, permission required for major decisions.
I don't think that one applies.
Okay, so here's how I think it does, and you don't even realize it. How many times did your parents tell you that you had to pray on something before doing it? And I get that this is probably really more geared towards like an actual person here on this planet, like telling you, but essentially they kind of are, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I have a problem with that, but yeah, but I would agree it's not as restrictive as some like culty cults. Rewards and punishments used to modify behaviors with both positive and negative.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like if you, for instance, like raise the most money, then you're gonna probably likely have the highest title, or
that is true. Also, I think about when we had, now I'm trying to remember what we called it, Brittany on here, and she was talking about people being shunned and like literally not being allowed to be a part of something until they change their behavior, right? Until they start doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. So I'm like, I know that's probably like a more, like they're very open about it, but I feel like that happens in every church to a degree. Like I told you about, I think we already talked about it on here about the person saying like, I'm being referred to as like prodigal daughter. Yeah. Remember? Yeah. And I'm like, but that's just reinforcing the same lessons to the people that are there. Like when you're gone, now there's something wrong. You're a prodigal, but now you're here and you're in the fold and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I would agree with that. Discourage individualism, encourage groupthink. Yes. I think that's kind of an easy, self-explanatory one. Impose rigid rules and regulations. Yes. That's the easy one. Punish disobedience by beating, torture, burning, cutting, rape, or tattooing and branding. I will say no. No. Threaten to harm to family or friends.
I wouldn't say like not physical harm.
Yeah, I would say not physical harm, but they are threatened with hell. Yeah. So it depends on how you view that. Force an individual to rape or be raped. Man, I should have probably put a trigger warning on some of these. On most of these, we'll probably need to go back to the beginning. Encourage and engage in corporal punishment.
The rest of these are going to be a little.
Yeah, I think these ones are all like these are going to be more extreme versions. Instill dependency and disobedience. Yeah, I'm gonna just skip over the last ones because I think we'll have to bleep out the other things anyway. Yeah. So the other ones are obviously crimes, are the rest of them. Actual very bad crimes. But I think we checked a lot of those boxes.
Most of them, I would say.
Yeah, I would say those probably at least 60 to 70%. Yes, in that box.
If not more.
If not, I feel like that's me being very generous saying that. Okay, well, let's go on to information control. And I guess before that, like, what is your thought on this as a concept in general?
I think it's interesting. I don't know. I didn't know that there was like a tool to gauge if you were in a cult or not, Yeah. Because I feel like that's enough right there. Like if you think you're in a cult, then you're probably in a cult and you need to leave,
Well, I told you this is newer too. Like this research didn't even get, so he used this as his doctoral, what's it called, dissertation? He used this paper as his doctoral dissertation in 2020. And he got his doctorate after that. But it didn't really get released into the public, I guess, until really 2021. So we're talking at this point 2 years ago. So this is not that long ago that this stuff came out. At least it's these papers. Now, all of these, his paper was obviously based off of other research as well. And that research has been out for quite some time. But this in like a almost checklist form, this is newer.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that like people had to go through all of these things in order for like us to get to this point. Like someone had to like these things had to have happened in order to create this list.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like that's.
I mean, there's
just
like
sad
a whole
enough.
industry of documentaries on this shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay, do you want to go through the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is I, which is information control. So this one is categorized like a little bit differently. They basically have like what it is and then some kind of sub points of like how that would happen. So like, for example, the first one is deception, and that's like ABC is deliberately withholding information, distorting information to make it more acceptable, and systematically lie to the cult member. So those are like all like forms of deception. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what it seems like it's saying.
So what would you say to that one?
Yes. Distort information to make it more acceptable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think deliberately withholding information too, because you know how like I was telling you, like the first one of the first videos I was really shocked by was whenever someone took the Bible to refute the Bible. And I'm like, wait, what? And it was it was on a YouTube. It was a YouTuber because, like I said, I watched a lot of videos, and they had taken essentially Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and taken like the same thing that was being described in each, like the birth or the death of Jesus, and showing how in each book or chapter there's, okay, well, this is a different country. Well, this is a different time period. This is a different king. Like, there are discrepancies between all four gospels, like major ones.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, even on the death of Jesus, like even on how many times Peter denies Christ, like there's discrepancies. Like if you go through your Bible app right now and read them side by side, there's discrepancies. And there's no way someone goes through seminary and is studying the Bible that intensely and doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's deliberately withholding information, because all I was told is that the Bible is the inherent word of God, and the inherent word of God is infallible. That's what I was told.
Ooh,
But
that's
there's,
interesting.
yeah, but I never knew that. And what's crazy, I think what's even crazier to me is I'm like, I wasn't even a person that didn't read the Bible. I've read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John on my own several times, but I've never done it from a critical thinking lens comparatively.
Yeah.
Comparing and contrasting, essentially. Oh my God, look, college came back to help with something. The one thing. Number 2 is minimize or discourage access to non-cult sources of information, including internet, TV, radio, books, articles, newspapers, magazines, media in general, critical information, former members, keeping members busy so they don't have time to think or investigate. All of those are interesting.
Yeah, former members, the backsliders.
Mm-hmm. Me being called the prodigal daughter, back to that. I'm not bitter.
Former member.
Former member. Also, and this also kind of shows, I know I'm going back because I just binge watched The Vow, but one of the things that you could have been in NXIVM in that cult, right? You could have been in the NXIVM cult, lower level, kind of occasionally, and you weren't affected like these people that were literally branding their bodies.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I think that's what people also miss, because you have the people like your husband that was on, and I'm going to forget what we called him, Daniel. So we had your husband that was on, and he was like, never really thought about it. Like, I went, it was okay. I feel like that's him. And then they get confused. They're like, weren't we at the same
Yeah.
thing?
And then he's like, what? Like, not that he ever says this, but then he's like, you're way more affected by this than I am.
Right. And I'm like, no, you weren't in it like the same. And
Yeah.
I say that because we had it to where this was not something we just went to on Sunday and our families lived different lives. Our families enforced these things at home. And I think that's where the difference really comes, because you're literally not ever escaping it. Like, for example, like minimize or discourage access. Internet, TV, radio, all of those things, check.
Yes.
I was not allowed. We've talked about my bitterness about not being allowed to watch Aladdin. I've never seen Matilda.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything with magic. I never watched Harry Potter's until like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so, also same thing, books we weren't reading, aside from maybe like Dr. Seuss, we weren't reading non-Christian sources for books.
It wasn't even allowed in the house.
No, we were not allowed to listen to any music other than Christian music, which is just, anyways, magazines weren't even an option, but mostly because we were broke. But I'm sure if we could have afforded it, it still would have been banned. So I think that's yeah, and then you go into critical information. Another thing that like really kind of drives me crazy is you have Christians to say like you're Catholic, right? And you go to Catholic school and then you go to Catholic high school, you know what I mean? And you're constantly, you don't really have a chance to question it. You don't have a chance to explore critical thinking on your own outside of the group. You know what I mean? And I know like when I did like history and stuff, it was like always with a Christian lens and things. And then, you know, it has like all this even false information that I didn't learn was false until I'm an adult. Like, all the founding fathers were Christians. No, the fuck they weren't. This is not a Christian, you know what I mean? It's like all this stuff that I was told and read in my books, my Christian books, aren't even true. Same thing about science. Like the science, literally, we were not taught anything about evolution at all. And I'm just like, you know, okay, I could go on and on, but I'm gonna stop. Okay, I know we have more to go through. I'm sorry. Okay, number 3, compartmentalize information into outsider versus insider doctrines. Ensure that information is not freely accessible. Control information at different levels and missions within the group. Allow only leadership to decide who needs to know what and when. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously controls the information.
I think the first like one at a broad spectrum, outsider versus insider, absolutely.
Yeah, there's like one of the worship songs that the Church of God in Christ sings.
What does it say?
Yeah, it says it's called like "This is the Church of God in Christ." That's the song, and it says you can't join in; you have to be born in.
What?
Yeah, that's a part of the like you can't join into the Church of God in Christ; you have to be born into it. I'm like, if that's a cult screaming right there.
That is insane.
Yeah, that's a part of one of like the main songs that they sing.
Okay. Well, I think the other thing you have is think about how many times it's referred to as the world. Like it's the world's point of view, but what we believe as Christians, as
truth,
believers. And I'm like, I cringe. What makes me sad though is that people that get indoctrinated into this, it bleeds into every aspect of their life. And I know we were doing an introduction on like this big video call. There was literally like 25 people on this call. I say big, you know, big to have everybody talking, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It was like 25 people on the call, and they said, hey, introduce us with, it was like literally an introductions, right? And then you start having, you know, one of the ladies gets on there and says, well, first and foremost, you need to know that I'm a believer. And then it's like, dude, this is a fucking work call. Nobody gives a shit what you believe. But then, because she did that, she was like number 2 or 3 to get called. Then every single person after that is like, I'm also a believer. Like, it was like they felt this pressure. Yeah, it was. I'm like literally trying to not make a face because I had to be on video, and I'm just like,
you're like, I am not a believer. Reformed.
I was the first one to not say shit about that. I was just like, yeah, but yeah. Okay, so encourage spying on other members. Impose a buddy system to monitor and control a member. Oh, okay. Porn watch, anybody? Report. I feel like that's how guys have the worst. They have to like a porn buddy.
Definitely.
Anyways, okay. Report deviant thoughts, feelings, or actions to leadership. Ensure that individual behavior is monitored by the group.
Yep. I can agree with all those things.
That's funny because when I read encourage spying on other members, I was gonna be like, not really, but then I'm like, oh well, yep. Oh shit.
You don't even like think of the buddy system as spying, but that's exactly what
it is. Yeah. Your accountability partner.
And you're going back to report what this person did.
Yeah.
You know.
Literally. And like we would tell, like I know you would tell leadership when shit would happen because like that was like the right thing to do.
Yeah,
like,
you felt like that was the right thing to do.
I'm saying that's what you were told.
Yeah.
Was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's like I'm gonna go on a tangent really quickly because it's so relevant. Remember I called you about that HR question?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the backstory. I will not say how I know this person, but a person I know in my life recently has come out as I don't know. I don't want to put a label on her because I don't know, but not straight. Let's just say that. Some sort of queer. So basically she started dating a female, and it was her first female relationship. They had literally not even done anything but kiss at this point, right? Because they're both first time with a female. They're still exploring. Okay, great. Both adults. Let me, I guess, preface it with that. But they were at a Christian college, and essentially, the girl that I know told who she thought was her best friend there. It was her roommate, her best friend. Tell each other everything. And she tells her like, hey, I'm exploring this relationship with this person, and this best friend person listens to her spill her little heart out, and then goes and tells their, like, whatever their campus person was, got her fired. She was working at the school. She got fired. She got told that she might get kicked out of the school and all this stuff. And her best friend's response was like, I just couldn't carry the weight of that sin on my shoulders.
God.
Was her response.
Couldn't carry the weight of that sin on my shoulders.
Yeah. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
So she ruined her best friend's life.
Yes. I'm like, that's
and
not your
outed
friend.
her, which
Yeah,
that's
and
dangerous.
outed her. So she gets sent home in the middle of the school year, right? She got suspended. So she gets sent home in the middle of the school year, where she has to go to her parents' house. How is she supposed to explain this to her pastor parents that she got kicked out of school or suspended, whatever? Like, and she was having panic attacks about it, like actual need a doctor panic attacks, because she was literally still exploring her sexuality, and like you said, exactly, she got forced out. And I was like, that's fucked up. Like,
yeah. That is not okay.
It's not okay. And I'm just like, and I called you. I'm like, can they even do this? Like, you know, because I know you know about HR. Anyways, not the point.
Yeah.
But the point is, though, is exactly this. Like, that girl, all of their group of friends has rallied behind the girl that outed her. And
that's
been
terrible.
like, she did the right thing. It wasn't fair for her to put that burden on her and stuff. I'm like, bitch, this had nothing to do with you.
Nothing.
Anyways, so that was my tangent, but it was still relevant. Okay, and then the last is an unethical use of confession, which is information about sins used to disrupt and or dissolve identity boundaries. Gosh, I cannot read either, apparently. Withholding forgiveness or absolution, manipulation of memory, possible false memories.
I don't know. The manipulation of memory kind of like maybe, but
yeah, I was gonna say the manipulation of memory and false memories. I've seen firsthand, and that now looking back and knowing what was really happening, it really, like, honestly makes me sick to even think about. But I know I used to be in sessions because, you know, we've talked, like, I worked at a church, so I would sit in on sessions and things that they had with people. But one of the ones that they had this thing called, I'm gonna like laugh just saying, called deliverance ministry. That you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It's all literally about casting out demons and all sorts of shit.
Spitting and speaking in tongues.
Yes, it's very next level. So that we did that a lot, like at the church that we were at. So, but one of the things that looking back on, like, really, really bothers me is they would have people essentially, like, say someone had, I'm trying to think of something that I can even say, like something really horrible happened to them as a child, right? They have essentially like a childhood trauma, right? They would essentially have them go back, like essentially almost in like a meditative state. They would have them sit, close their eyes, sometimes even lay down, and like essentially recall the moment and the memory of this trauma, which first of all, you shouldn't fucking be doing without like a licensed fucking therapist. Like, that's dangerous.
Yeah, seriously.
When we're talking about like heavy childhood traumas. And they would essentially have them go back and like relive this memory and be like, now ask Jesus where he is. Where is he in the room? Like, where is he in this moment? But then they would basically be kind of like almost giving them ideas of where he could be in here. Is he, is he covering your, and sometimes they would, like, people are crying and like, oh, he's covering my heart and like he's protecting me, like, while I'm being R-worded as a 5-year-old. Fucking no, that's not helpful. Jesus,
Yeah.
take it.
That
Is really sick. But I'm like, but that is fucking with people's memory and essentially creating false memories sometimes with people. And I think it's extremely dangerous just from a psychological standpoint. Like, I am not a therapist in any means. Like, I don't know shit about fuck when it comes to that. But I'm like, that can't be good.
Yeah.
Right?
That just, ugh.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's gross.
It's gross. And I've seen it done multiple times. Like, and, looking in my naive stupidity, I'm like sitting there on a couch listening to them do this. And I'm just like, oh, they're getting healed from like their womb. No, they're not. So
Just making it worse.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Like,
that's so sad.
But even worse, I think, sometimes when they would do this and they're talking about, like, where some of these traumas could be coming from, I also wonder how much were they triggering false memories with this, assuming that XYZ behavior had to have come from a childhood trauma. What if the person had no trauma and now they're doubting their own memories,
true.
and they're like, well, because they would say things like, usually these types of demons or this types of this stems from childhood trauma, and sometimes they would even say, like, God protects us from even remembering those. So sometimes you're literally convincing people that they had some sort of awful thing happen to them as a child when maybe it didn't. Like, but then that memory is real.
Yeah.
Like, that's terrifying.
That's true. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So even if it didn't really happen, the damage really did.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Like, it really makes me even, like, physically, like, sick to my stomach to think about that. Like, oh, gross. Okay, so that's just stuff I've seen firsthand. Obviously, you have, like, confessionals and things in Catholicism, and in other sects of Christianity too, different types. But anyways, okay, so the next one is T, which is thought control, and some of those may include requiring members to internalize the group's doctrine as truth, which could be adopting the group's map of reality as reality, instilling black and white thinking, decide between good versus evil, organizing people into us versus them, insiders versus outsiders. So I think we've already talked about the last one.
Yeah.
Good versus evil, I think, kind of goes back to the same thing. Black and white thinking, what do you think about that?
I mean, I feel like that's definitely true. I feel like they say this is the only way,
Yeah. Yeah, I
This
agree.
is right, this is wrong, there's no in between.
And what about map of reality? Adopting the group's map of reality.
Yeah, like everybody's one like-minded. They always say that, to have the same, like, we have the same goal, we're going to the same place,
Well, I think, I don't know if we've talked about this, but when I started deconstructing was the first time that I had heard of Christianity referred to as a death cult. And I'm like, a death cult? Like, how? And they're like, because it required a sacrifice by blood. Any person had to die as a sacrifice. They're like, that's a death cult. Even if he rose again, okay, great. But I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
They're like, that's literally what Christians would be like, oh, this awful death. Like, they would have referred to other people as that. But
That's crazy.
yeah, they're like, it's a sanctification by death and blood. And I'm like, that's true. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I had never heard it referred to that before.
Yeah, I've never heard that before either.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, fuck. Like, it is. But I'm saying the map of reality, I'm like, if you just look at it, he had to die. There's a fixation on blood. The blood of Jesus cleanses, washes, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, if you think of that objectively, not in the lens that you grew up in, say you never introduced to religion and you're talking about bathing in someone's blood.
Yeah.
And that they had to die for you. It's pretty disgusting and disturbing.
I'd be like, I didn't ask.
You're like, ooh, no,
Wait,
thank you.
don't sacrifice anyone for me.
Yeah, right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I never thought of that. Anyways, but that's a map of reality, right? And then you also, as a Christian, would genuinely believe in hell.
Yeah.
So, okay, so number 2, change a person's name and identity.
So I don't know if you know, but like
give it.
in the Christian church, like you or the Pentecostal church, like they say you get a new name when you get saved.
So they say it's like a new name in heaven, or it's like
a new name in heaven.
that you don't know what it is.
No.
Okay, so I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay, but they don't actually give you an actual name. Okay. Some places do literally strip you of an identity. But I mean,
they definitely strip you of your identity.
Well, yes,
Definitely.
I meant like your name more so. But so I don't feel like it's outwardly done too much. But you're right, like a new name in heaven. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Let's see, number 3, use of loaded language and cliches which constrict knowledge, stop critical thoughts, and reduce complexities into, oh my God.
I do not know what that is.
I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that word, but basically buzzwords. Like, I can pronounce that. Platitudinous. I get that they're saying it's like it's a different like way of saying platitude, but I'm like, platitudinous. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try anymore. Platitudinous. I was close.
Yeah.
Platitudinous. I needed to say it more confidently, and then I would have had it. I should have just gone for it, and it would have sounded so smart. Platitudinous. I kind of like that word now. Now, in every episode from now, I'm like, the platitudinous. Every time.
It's going to be a new word.
I love it. So, yeah, what do you think about that one?
Use of loaded language and cliches, which restricts knowledge. Stop critical thought.
I think this kind of goes into, like, what like, I've heard referred to as, like, Christianese. Like, it's, like, the language that Christians speak, like...
Like what?
like, oh, do you have peace about it?
Oh,
like,
okay. Okay, like the little sayings.
Yeah,
okay.
like, do you feel peace in your spirit, man? Or like shit that you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
in like real life, you know what I was saying.
The trigger words.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of a little bit like, what the fuck is a spirit man? Like, you know, like, is that just me? Can I have a spirit woman? No. Okay.
Spirit is a man.
Yeah, can we not? I have enough men to deal with in my life. I don't need any more inside me, okay? Oh my God. Okay, we're not even gonna go there. Okay. Encourage only good and proper thoughts. Absolutely. Take every thought captive is what I was told all the time. Take every thought captive. I don't even remember the next part of that, but there's a whole sentence. I don't know. Hypnotic techniques are used to alter mental status, undermine critical thinking, and even to age regress the member.
Oh, I don't know. That's a little intense.
That is a little intense, but the scenario I had just described to you about purposely trying to have someone go back into childhood trauma is kind of that. And I get that they didn't use hypnosis in the fact of like count to 10 and look at like they didn't do like a pendulum swing, but also what the fuck are we calling people getting quote unquote slain in the spirit? What the fuck is that?
That's true.
Is that like what the fuck?
I don't.
Where does that fall?
I just like I know. I want to ask those people that do that, like, yo, off the record. Off the record.
I won't tell anybody shit.
I'm not gonna say nothing. Just tell me, yo, y'all faking, right? Or is it drugs? What is it?
Remember I showed you that video of like parents doing that to little kids, like literally teaching them how to fall out.
Maybe they think
that's
like
what's
that
happening.
They're having an actual reaction to whatever is happening in their.
But that's altering your reality. That's altering your reality state. Like,
yeah, that's true.
I get that's not necessarily hypnosis, but is it a hypnotic technique? I don't know. Alter mental state. That's an altered mental state.
Yeah, for sure.
It has to be.
Gotta
Writhing
be.
on the floor has to qualify as an altered mental state. Goddamn. Okay. Why are we apart? Does this make you go like, what the fuck was I doing?
Every time I think about this, I just cringe because I'm like, girl,
like, what was wrong with me?
What were you doing?
Oh my God. Memories are manipulated and false memories are created. We've talked on that a couple times. Teaching thought-stopping techniques. You could stop right there, and that's correct. Would shut down reality by stopping negative thoughts and allowing only positive thoughts, including
Denial. Absolutely.
deny till you die. Okay, that didn't say that, but rationalized justification, wishful thinking, chanting, meditating, praying, speaking in tongues, beep, 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 brr. Singing and humming.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about. We have a whole episode to like half of those. We'll just leave it at that.
Like they would teach you to chant so you can learn how to speak in tongues.
Oh my. How did these grown ass adults think this is okay?
How do they still think it's okay?
How do they still think it's okay?
That's my thing. How do they still think it's okay?
How? Okay, because we're in our 30s, have been out for. We've been doing this for like a year now.
Yeah, definitely. You a year for sure. Me just probably like right at 6 months maybe. But
I'm just saying, but how?
How? Like I talked to the lady who had the inappropriate relationship with like the high school boy. Yeah, she randomly like hit me up about something else.
Stop.
Yeah, just like completely unrelated.
Okay.
And so she sends me a picture because she's a new grandbaby of her and her grandbaby. And I'm looking at this picture and I'm like, yo, don't you know that I know you had an inappropriate relationship with a high schooler? And now I'm looking at you holding a baby. I'm like, this is icky. That's how I felt looking at that picture.
Is it a boy or girl?
It's a girl.
Well, at least that's good.
Yeah. But I'm just like looking at it. I'm just like, I don't know. I just, like, I can look back on my life and know, like, there's been some times when I've done some stuff and I'm like, that was so out of pocket that if I was around those people again, I would be uncomfortable, you know?
Yeah.
But for her to feel comfortable reaching out to me lets me know that she doesn't think she did anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? It just gave me the heebie-jeebies. No.
No. Just no.
No.
I really do need, like, maybe one day I'll be brave enough and I can get like my dad to come and be like, listen, just take a microphone because you need to explain this to the people.
The people need to know.
The people need to know.
Why do you still go?
Why?
Do you, like, first answer me this. Do you know it's a cult? Yes. Okay. Why do you still go?
Yeah.
You could just not go. Do
Yeah.
you know what would happen if you didn't go?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what happened in my life when I just stopped going. I got a better quality of life.
Way better quality of life, better mental health,
Yes.
better relationship,
Just everything.
Everything. Better finances, better
Just
everything.
across the board.
Everything is better. Yes. Okay. Oh my God. Anyways.
Christians are cringing right now.
No, because the Christians would say, of course it's better. Because
Out in the world.
you're out. Yeah. Of course, Satan is going to lure you into that side. It is better to trap flies with honey than vinegar. And he's bringing you into that. But once you're drowning in hellfire.
Not drowning.
Not the hellfire.
No, but for real.
Fucking for
seriously,
real.
that's what they're thinking right now.
Oh.
Somebody's
yeah.
mom is listening to this and shaking her head.
She's going,
and praying for
the devil's got his way. The Lord has taken his hand off of her life. And now
not
you
the
know,
hand
you
off.
know I'm right.
Yes.
And
oh my God, that's so good.
Satan is tempting her in.
That is so good.
There's tons of millionaires in
I'm
hell.
gonna pray for their return.
No, yeah, but I've heard that too. There's plenty of successful people in hell.
Yeah.
There's plenty of successful people. Oh my God. Yes, I'm aware because I am there. Oh my God. Okay. I don't even know how to go on. Okay. Rejection of rational analysis, critical thinking, constructive criticism. Yeah, I think we've already typed it out. Okay. Forbid critical questions about leaders' doctrine or policies allowed.
Yes, they do not allow
Absolutely.
any questions.
Yeah, I asked the pastor at our church once, and this is when I was still, in the fold. But I asked them once because we were doing a Bible study with the leadership group or whatever. We were going through Genesis or something. definitely Genesis, because we talked about Cain and Abel, right? Brother kills other brother. I forget what's Cain kills Abel, right? Cain is then cast out to the land of now we know as Canaan. Whatever. He gets married, has kids, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Everybody goes on with the story from there about how he was like marked, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Afterwards, this is after all this Bible study, I go up to the pastor and I was like, okay, I'm very confused though. Because if Cain and Abel, if Adam and Eve were the first two human beings and they had Cain and Abel, I was like, and later they had Seth. But I'm like, but originally Cain and Abel would have been the first children born on this planet. How is Cain bouncing and getting married? Who's he marrying? A goat?
That's
like,
a good question.
What is
That's
he?
a very good question.
What's he marrying? And I was essentially told like not to question God.
Yeah, that's the answer you get whenever they don't even know.
I mean, like, oh, well, it wasn't even like, let me see if I can find, it was nothing. It was just kind of like, well, sometimes we have to just not question, God's word. I can't even remember the full
They
thing.
probably went home like, damn, she had a point though.
But it still bothers me. I'm like, who the fuck? And then I was also because this bothered me for a long time. And they're like, well, we don't know the timeline between Cain and Abel being born and Cain killing Abel. They were like, maybe, they were hundreds of years old at this point, and they had hundreds of other kids that went off, and I was like, but then why would they even talk about bitch ass Seth? Like,
That's
what does
true.
he
That's
matter
true.
if there really was all these other kids in between?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I saw that no one has ever been able to give me an answer.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm like, so where are these people coming from? So either A, you have to admit that Adam and Eve were not the first people on this planet, or B, I don't know what B is. It's all not true.
Blind faith.
But even blind,
That's gonna be there.
yeah, I guess that was
Just trust it.
But yeah. Anyways, so yes. Labeling alternative belief systems as illegitimate, evil, or not useful.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's thought control. Any other closing thoughts on thought control before we move on to our emotional control?
No, it's pretty clear.
I feel like it is, right? Okay, emotional control is manipulate and narrow the range of feelings. Some emotions and or needs are deemed as evil, wrong, or selfish. Narrow the range. Some emotions. Oh, like anger is considered bad. Anger and fear is also considered bad. But I really I heard a quote recently. They said that fear is not evil, it's a warning. And I'm like, that's very true. Because in a lot of, especially Christianity, fear, like God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of the sound mind, right? I know I used to be told that all the time. And, fear is very looked down on, I feel like, in Christianity. And that's totally, it's dismissing the warning signs, because fear is built into our nature to keep us safe. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You're supposed to be scared of the bear.
Yeah.
So you don't go, you know what I mean? You're supposed to be scared of, a hurricane. You need to get out of the fucking way. Like, you're supposed to have fear of, falling. Like, you're supposed to have certain amounts of fear.
Yeah.
But I think that's really an important thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a warning. But to me, that's manipulation of emotions. What do you think?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Let's see. Teach emotion stopping techniques to block feelings of homesickness, anger, or doubt.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely teach you about like, but I feel like maybe it's more like controlling those feelings of like anger and doubt and stuff like that. Or just like turning them around, maybe. I don't know. I think I'll give them that one.
Okay. But make the person feel that problems are always their own fault, never the leader or the group's fault.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, I think
Sometimes they say like, don't make your brother sin,
yeah.
Do XYZ so this person won't.
It's
falter.
your fault. Someone else's. someone else's can't control their dick. That's your fault. Don't you know? Your shoulder blades are gonna do it. So sexy. Promote feelings of guilt or unworthiness, such as identity guilt. You are not living up to your potential. Your family is deficient. Your past is suspect. Your affiliations are unwise. Your thoughts, feelings, actions are irrelevant or selfish. Social guilt, historical guilt.
I think enough of those.
I think plenty of those.
Yeah.
Plenty of them.
Enough for it to count, for sure.
I've been saying a lot lately that I think there is a difference between being selfish and self-centered. I don't think being selfish is a bad thing. I think self-centered is. Self-centered is I'm the center of the universe. Selfish is I've got to take care of myself first.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely villainized though in Christianity. So instill fear, such as fear of thinking independently, the outside world, enemies, losing one's salvation. Oh my God, that was on our biggest fears episode.
It was.
Leaving or being shunned by the group, others' disapproval. I still fucking suck at that. And historical guilt. I think we have a whole episode on fears. Checks all of those. Extremes of emotional highs and lows, love bombing and praise one moment, or declaring that you're a horrible sinner the next.
Yes.
I think you just described it right there.
Yep.
Ritualistic or sometimes public confessions of sins. Yes.
Yes.
We talked about how that pastor that cheated on his wife was forced to go up to the pulpit and confess this.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't involve anybody else. Phobia, indoctrination, including irrational fears about leaving the group or questioning the leader's authority. No happiness or fulfillment possible outside of the group. Terrible consequences if you leave. Hell, demon possession, incurable diseases, accidents, suicide, insanity, 10,000 reincarnations, etc. Shunning of those who leave. Fear of being rejected by friends or family. That fear is accurate. That's what happens.
You're like, I'm living it.
Living it is the prodigal daughter here. Never a legitimate reason to leave. Those who leave are weak, undisciplined, unspiritual, worldly, brainwashed by family or counselor, or seduced by money, sex, and rock and roll. I love the ad of rock and roll. Threats or harm to ex-member and family. I don't think threats of harm, but the rest of those I feel like we're all pretty spot on.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's the bite model. I'm curious if you were following along, if you had examples from your own personal experience in religion with these. And I also just find it very interesting that it really depends on the person, because hypothetically, like, you and your husband went to the same church at the same time. Mm-hmm. And you would answer yes to obviously most of these questions.
Yeah.
But he probably would not.
Yeah, probably not.
And I think that just shows it's not always apples to apples. It's not necessarily just one church. Now, I get it. We have extreme examples of these extreme cults that, yes, every single person in it was like, deep in, had to be an FBI raid to get them out. Like, okay, I get that. There are those examples. But I think it can be person to person and how you were indoctrinated into it, and just maybe even how susceptible you and your own personal psyche are to it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that goes into it.
I could see that, like, playing a part.
Yeah, I mean, because you would also just kind of assume, I was just talking to someone today about how children of people with allergies are 14 times more likely to develop the same allergy as their parent. And so much goes into genetics. I'm like, is there anything to the reason, like, some families are, like, historically so Christian or so Catholic or so Muslim or so whatever, all the way up the lineage? I'm like, are they literally genetically, like, more inclined to believe or have, like, a psyche that can be convinced of these things?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about lately.
Yeah. Especially. It'd be interesting to know if there's, like, any research.
I have no idea. I'm just totally talking out of my ass, but I'm just, like, wondering, like, is that a thing? Like, or is it like the nurture versus nature, in that because that's how you were raised, that's just how you're going to be, like, indoctrinated? I don't know. Well, what'd you think of the bite model? You liked it?
Yeah, it was very interesting. feel like I definitely want to do like more research on it and just like read a little bit more like this article about it. But it's pretty spot on.
Yeah, you can read the whole paper too. It's available for a PDF download. We can even just put the link in here so you can see the whole thing and who it was signed off by, and it's 158 pages. So the actual whole dissertation is pretty lengthy. He also then went on after this to write a book that I think probably uses a little bit more public-friendly language, because this is obviously a dissertation. It's very technical. But if you're into the technical, like for me, I'm like, I want to know that there's research or something substantial behind something, especially how I grew up, right? I'm like, I want to see the showing the receipts, like, right? So if you're into that, I think, you want to dig into the 158-page paper. Go for it.
Do it.
Just put the link, yeah. All right, well, that was a bite model.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys thought. We'd love to hear your
experience. If you think you qualified under the bite model.
or if you're still in it.
Or if you're still
and you feel like it's not a bad thing.
And you're like, wait a second. I like being controlled.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time.
See ya.
Bye.